Hey y'all, welcome back to Day Car Pod. I'm Jenna, and I spent all of my grant bucks on getting tickets to Cowboy Carter. I'm so excited. Connie,
Woo!
friend of the pod, and I are going to LA for night two of Cowboy Carter tour, and I'm so excited. So thank you to my rich grandfather for giving me all those grant books when he died. I don't know. I've lost the plot, y'all. But in order to help me get back on the plot, please welcome back to the podcast a dear friend of mine, one part of Roses for Everybody, and also somebody who's going to Cowboy Carter, Epiphany.
Hey, hey, Jenna and Day Card Pod. So happy to be back. So happy to get my Cowboy Carter tickets as well. Those Grant Bucks, they go a long
They
way.
really go.
I'm really, I think they're stronger than a dollar in this economy. So, but I'm excited to be going to see Queen, Beyonce this summer, and I'm happy
Mm,
that Jenna gets to go for the first time. So that's
I
gonna
know.
be great.
I'm so excited. I loved that album so much. I last week when I get into work after the Grammys, my boss, who knows I'm a Swiftie, said, "How you doing, buddy?" Like, cause and I was like, I appreciate your sympathies, but I'm fine. Tortured Poets was a bad album, and Cowboy Carter absolutely deserved to win.
Yes. You're one of those Swifties who's actually rational. You're like, hey, Taylor does have bad music every once in a while. It's okay.
It's
And
okay.
that album is just so good. It's just I truly there was no other option, to be honest, for
No,
that specific award.
no, no, exactly, absolutely. But also, I guess speaking of music, you have to give props to Kendrick Lamar for winning his 5 Grammys and killing it at the Super Bowl. Of course, this is a great crossover. I never thought I would be talking about Kendrick Lamar and the Bachelor franchise so much this week, but it's filled me with great joy, in fact, because I love nothing more than when two shitty, mediocre men in this franchise get just like dragged by people they don't like, by people who are online who don't even like commentate on Bachelor spaces.
Oh yeah, it was an interesting week in Bachelor Nation because who would have expected that two ignorant white men making a very quick judgment on a halftime performance would create so much uproar? And I fucking loved it because they deserve every ounce of being dragged for what they fucking said. So for those who might not know, Jason Tardik and Tyler Cameron decided to post videos, and I think maybe one of them might have been a picture talking about worst Super Bowl performance ever, or worst Super Bowl ever, terrible performance. Really?
Really?
Terrible ever?
Mm,
And why
mm,
is that?
mm. No, and I saw somebody, actually, no, not somebody, the Rachel Lindsay, in fact,
The Rachel Lindsay. Yep.
and she did about a 5 minute segment on both of them, on Higher Learning today, dropped, go listen to it. It was iconic. I'm gonna try to
Highly
post it,
recommend.
but it's like 5 minutes long, so I was like, I don't know how I can post this. But, she was like it's fine to say you don't know Kendrick's music very much, that you don't like even his style. Like you could totally say a lot of those things within like well within your opinion, but to like literally say it's the worst one ever is like where the dog whistle is. That is where everyone is catching you. And if you, Tyler Cameron, don't see that, but and you clearly you didn't, like that's why you're getting roasted, is like you didn't even like stop to think about like how you can word it. You just, it came from your chest, like you said that.
And there's no self-reflection, like maybe take a step back and wonder, huh, why didn't this resonate with me?
Hmm.
Why is it resonating with a very specific group of people in a way that I don't understand? Maybe I should do my research. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. And for Tyler in particular to follow it up with, oh, it should have been Lil Wayne. It just really proves the point that a lot of these white people in Bachelor Nation really want to be around Black people who makes them feel comfortable, who make them feel comfortable. And what it came down to is that Kendrick did not sanitize his Super Bowl performance. He didn't make it mainstream. He didn't just focus on his big hits that everyone would know.
Hmm.
He knew that it is Black History Month. He is the first rapper to headline a Super Bowl by himself. And he wanted to make this for his people. He's like, this is for my community. This is a love letter to my community. And the girls that get it,
Hmm.
and the ones that don't, don't. He wasn't trying to be, and it's funny because it's right there in the message.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson, as Uncle Sam was saying, it's too ghetto, it's too black, it's too much because most of America is going to feel uncomfortable by your performance because
Oh,
and and they were
I didn't
and
even think
and
about that
and
part
Kendrick.
specifically. Like, I heard what
Mhm.
Sam was saying, but like, but you're right. Like, the reaction literally is what. Oh, wow.
It's layers to it. It's layers to it, right? It's funny when, these ignorant white men just prove our point. It's just like you clearly didn't watch the show because the way you're reacting is exactly what is played out through the show.
Hmm.
So, being a black woman in society, just growing up as a minority, I am forced to be in white spaces and have to
Hmm.
find ways to be comfortable. I am forced to be exposed to white culture because, they are the majority. It is what it is, but there aren't, white people often aren't in situations where they're the minority or they're witnessing something that they don't particularly understand or a culture that they're a part of.
Hmm.
And this was a situation where they were kind of forced to be in that position. And instead of embracing that feeling of discomfort and learning, you had these men like Jason and Tyler decide that, you know what? Because I don't understand, it's bad. I don't like
Hmm.
it
Yeah.
because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So
It's
fuck you.
bad. Yeah. So fuck you. Oh my God. So
Yep.
true. And I doubt those two people, maybe they probably got influencered into it, but
Mhm.
maybe. But I do love the fact that all those really bitter MAGA people paid so much money for those tickets and they had
Yep.
to listen to the worst football. No, but what we love is that I will say this: I know for a fact that Joey probably didn't have to pay for his tickets, and Joey was basically front row. His ass was on the grass, and that's how our king of Bachelor Nation is to be treated. And he
My
loved the
sweet baby
performance.
Joey.
He looked like he was gonna cry in that video.
My sweet baby Joey. Kelsey took a video of him having the time of his life, bumping like you can tell that man was having enjoying that performance. And to even like solidify it even more, Kelsey's Super Bowl post that she did on Instagram had a Kendrick song, the song that he has with SZA on his recent album. It's
Mm,
called Luther. Also, if you guys haven't listened to Kendrick Lamar's recent album, listen to it. It's really good. Like a lot of people probably didn't recognize the performance because it was a lot of songs from his new album.
yeah.
Give it a listen. It's really, really good. But yeah, Kelsey posted her post had a song from the album. I was like, yeah, girl, you drawing the line in the sand. And then today, Joey posted his recap, and it was another Kendrick song, Squabble Up. So I'm like, my king and queen of Bachelor Nation are they aren't disappointing me, and I'm so happy about it.
It was really one of those beautiful moments. We really don't have much to be thankful for in
Hmm.
our fandom or the world right now. And that was just like a beautiful, like truly poetic. You fuck around, you find out, and then you have the other side of the spectrum, Joey just being unproblematic and being praised for it. It's just like that's how the world is supposed to work, people.
Absolutely.
But it's not
And
always the
and
case.
Jason and Tyler knew they fucked up too because they deleted the posts on top of that too, right? They saw the backlash. They knew they were like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't read this room correctly. So, and it's funny because I saw I think Bachelor Windmill did a recap of what happened. And you know me, I like to go in the comments. I gotta see, who's trying to and there was
You and
some
me.
some washed up Batch Nation people in there, white men talking about, oh, are people not allowed to have an opinion? What's his face? Tanner, Joey's
Oh,
bestie. That motherfucker was in there talking about, oh, I thought people were allowed to have opinions. How about you're not allowed to have a fucking opinion?
yeah.
So
You
he was in
know,
there, and then Brandon Quinn, the one from Canada,
yeah,
yeah, that dude was in there too, talking about same thing.
yeah.
Why can't we all have our own opinion? Why can't we say it's not good? And it's like there's a difference between saying I didn't care for it, it didn't resonate with me, and saying this is the worst Super Bowl of all time. This is horrible. It's because you're ignorant and
DEI
you don't.
hire, blah, blah,
Yes,
blah. Like,
yes.
it's like, could there be a more applicable situation than what's happening in the world right now? It's actually kind of like, it's poetic. I mean, obviously Kendrick knew
Yeah,
what he was doing in that regard, but,
sure did.
because he could have played nice and buttoned up and been humble, and,
Hmm.
done something different, to appease the, people, but
but he
Yeah,
didn't.
well, you
And you know
didn't.
what? It's I'm happy because it's created a lot of really interesting conversations.
Yeah,
So,
agreed.
and then like speaking of Joey too, I feel like a lot of Bachelor Nation hasn't really been showing Grant a lot of love
Hmm.
this season. I feel like it's been like kind of quiet chatter wise.
Yeah,
And I really appreciate that. Like I've seen Joey a few times like make sure to shout out and be like, "Hey, like new episode tonight, like check out
that's
Grant."
good.
And I really appreciate him doing that. I know like the bar is in hell, but
Yeah.
unfortunately like no one is doing anything. So I got to give him, some kudos because, I'm
But I'm
always
glad
going
you
to
brought
be a
that
Joey
up
stan.
because I do feel like really no one's talking about it as much, even within the franchise. And
Yeah.
I am loving this season so far. Actually, last night I literally talked to Connie and my girlfriend. I was just like, I'm having fun. This is great. These women are
Oh, good.
cuckoo bananas, and
Oh,
and and Grant is I'm getting to know him in a different light, and it's interesting because you just never know what you're gonna get when they become a lead, right? There's just
absolutely.
nuance to all of that, but I'm still enjoying it, and he's still hilarious, and he's still great, and I like the choices he's making. It's like it's interesting,
Hmm.
and I like him calling out the women and being like, let's be more kind. It was like really like a buttoned up answer, but I was also like, okay, Grant, doing that. Like I feel like no other bachelor would have done that. So I was like,
Yeah.
I this season is bringing a lot of great entertainment and nuance value to me, but I am disappointed that it's not being like hyped up as much, which is like weird because like I feel like the like TM brand rather, they're doing a pretty decent job of promoting it, and
Hmm.
their graphics are good as usual. You and I talk about this all the time. They definitely hired a new person. Things are
Yep.
like, the social media is great. Last night there was weird ass but like weird in a way that I like enjoyed. There was like these. Did you notice the like edits across the screen when they go to the bank date? It like the screen like split in three, and like the top and bottom parts of the video went
Yes,
like one
yes.
direction and it went the other direction, and then numbers like the stock market went across the screen, and I was like, what show am I watching? I feel like I'm watching a 2010 MTV reality show, but like complimentary. Like I was like, yes, I am sat and I'm engaged in this weird ass shit.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And also, I feel like they were starting to, I don't know if they were running out of date ideas or if they were trying to be creative, but I was like, this bank date, like to this group date that I was trying to connect it to Grant's interest as being a day trader. I was just like, okay. But I think the girls made it fun. Like
No,
the
exactly.
ladies
Yeah.
made it fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I ended up really liking the date, but yeah, I agree. While
Mhm.
I say like the social media is doing good, they aren't doing good on the dates. The dates are boring
Uh,
overall, and like they went to a dead mall last week. They went to Vegas again. Like, come on. But I ended up liking the bank date because of like the money part of it. Like I
the
was
money
I
part,
was
yeah.
giggling
The
and
Grant bucks,
gaggling.
yeah.
It was
Great
like
idea. Yeah, that was
I,
that was hilarious.
I'm like, I want them to incorporate that somehow in all future, like I
Oh
want
my
an
gosh.
episode or like a game that it, like just includes fake money. I think it's fun, or real money
It's so
actually.
much fun. And I love that you were able to actually buy something with it. That Bailey was able to get a shirt from Grant.
Hmm.
And what was the other thing that she got? Oh, I think it was a dessert or something with
Hmm.
him.
Hmm.
So I thought that was a really good idea. I'm like, why don't we carry this out throughout the season? Like with the group dates, you win a certain amount of money and you can cash it in for things with Grant. I love that idea.
Wait, yes, Infinity. That's why you're right. That's what I loved about it. Oh my god, it should continue throughout, and like, oh, and then I was joking last night. I was like, Bailey should have actually not bought in anything and said, Grant, I'm investing my Grant bucks because I care about finances. And then he would have been like,
Ooh.
oh, girl, yes, you're
He would
my
have loved that. He
finance
would have eaten that up.
princess. Like, but I mean, or maybe spend part of it. Oh, I'm gonna put the rest in a Grant CD. Like just make sure everything has Grant in front of it, and you're
Love it.
good. But I
So
do.
funny.
You've just fixed the show. You have to start banking the money. You get money each date.
Yes.
You can barter with people. You can,
Hmm.
you can maybe even
You can use it
buy
for
the
time with
group date
Grant. Like,
rose.
yeah.
Like somebody else gets it, and then you can buy it off of them.
Imagine. It's like I saved 3 million Grant bucks so I can buy myself a rose. Oh gosh, it would like turn the whole show on its head.
Right. But I kind of need it. Oh my God.
Oh, it's awesome.
You're welcome, ABC.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Or even like I'm sure they can use this in Paradise in
No,
some shape or form.
yes.
That could be kind of cool.
Yes. No, that's a
Gamify
good
it
idea.
some.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it literally costs them no money, like because the money doesn't have to be. It's not real, you
It's
know.
fake.
It's fake, just like our current
Yeah.
money, just like our American dollar.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyway, so are you? I talked a lot about my enjoyment of it. Are you enjoying the season so far? What's your like? We'll
Mm.
go into like this the drama of this episode, but like yeah, what's your overall grand thoughts and you know?
I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about Grant. I mean, I think that a lot of people have been a little too hard on the season
Mhm,
and on him in particular.
mhm.
So I am trying to give him grace. I do feel like the season as a whole has been moving really quickly. Like I don't understand how we're at 10 girls after 3
It
episodes.
started off with 25 only, and that's a pretty low number.
Yeah, like it was, and then they went from 25, I think, to what was it, 18 maybe?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just it's I feel like they're moving rather quickly,
Hmm.
which is making it hard because I'm like, there's not a lot of ladies left, but I also don't really know a lot of them.
Hmm.
So, I think Grant is still kind of figuring out what kind of lead he wants to be.
Hmm.
Um, I think that we are already seeing a very typical role of a bachelor where you've got some women that you can tell it's a more of a physical connection,
Mm.
while there's others that he's forming deeper connections with. So I'm just very curious to see what's going to prevail at the end. Unfortunately, I just feel like he might end up just going with the most chemistry. I mean, hey, maybe he'll prove me wrong, but so far it's interesting because he talks about wanting a deeper connection, but he hasn't really gone there with a lot of women.
Mm.
I think Latia is probably
Mm.
the only woman he had like a very serious conversation with.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I know also
Carolina.
Carolina talked
Yep.
about
Hmm.
yeah, Carolina talked about her epilepsy as well. But in terms of like Grant also sharing and being very
Hmm.
um, vulnerable, I think I haven't seen much of that yet
Hmm.
in a way that I do miss with I mean also I'm trying not to compare Grant to Joey because he is my favorite. But I think Joey did a really good job of realizing at some point that he wasn't being vulnerable enough. So I'm hoping
Yeah.
that Grant also has that same realization and he starts to open up some more with some of the women.
Yeah. No, that
So,
makes sense. Yeah. I mean, also like we found out last night that like his mom also withheld a lot of affection from him. And I
yeah.
remember him talking about his father, never saying that he like loved Grant or whatever.
Hmm.
Not like I don't, not saying the opposite, like I don't love you, kid, but like just never expressed love.
Yeah.
And
Or expressing love in different ways, right?
right,
Because
true.
when you think about love languages, because talked about, he was like, my mom, yeah, she wasn't affectionate per se, but she showed her love through action.
Mhm.
But it seems like what he's really looking for is that like physical touch, words of affirmation. And I can see why
Yeah.
you can see him put that into place the way
Yes.
that he interacts with the women.
Yeah. No, and I was like, when I found that out last night, I was like, that
It
tracks a
clicked, right?
lot. And
Yeah.
it's whatever. So I'm not gonna try to like judge him for it, but it's just like, oh, that is just like another man who maybe not has healed enough from that,
Yep.
both mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah.
Um, Although I think I feel like at one point he mentioned he has gone to therapy or whatever, so hopefully he has. And yeah, maybe he can just kind of readjust like what he's doing because yeah, that's not a sexual or physical connection is not all you need in a
And I think
relationship.
he's doing it maybe unintentionally
Yeah.
because I mean, we're gonna go more into depth about the episode, but just seeing how he reacted to what Rose had told Carolina, and he was like, I don't want to come across as a player. I don't want anyone to think I'm like messing with their emotions. So I think it is very important to him to make it very clear that he's taking the process seriously.
Mhm.
But at this point, some of his actions doesn't quite line up with that. So he needs to really course correct, I think. And I also feel like this group of women are just, they're not a very secure group of women. They're
Mm.
very insecure.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Part of me was like, well, is it an age thing? But it seems like a lot of these women are a little bit older than usual.
Mhm.
So I thought that was a little bit surprising, but I was just like, I feel like it's too early in the season for the women to be so insecure and like so in their heads about the process. And I'm like, did you not? It always baffles me when people get so, because I get it when it's later in the season and you really get invested in your relationship and you really start to get in your head. But like early on, it's kind of like, did you not know what you signed up for?
Right.
Like you should, it shouldn't be this hard this soon.
No, and like yeah, they were even upset last week when Zoe was like taking time and um just in general like they can't handle anyone doing something that's like not perceived as just like group, you know, group validating, and it's like that's not quite, yeah, the show is gonna be like this. You're not gonna hear it make friends. And I don't know. I'm sad that
Yeah.
Chloe's gone because I feel like
That
she
made me
was,
really sad.
yeah, well, for lots of reasons, but I felt like she was one of those girls who didn't care about the drama, and she was entering this in a way more mature
Yeah.
way. And I was like really excited to see how that would play out as it ramped up, but
There's a line that she specifically said when she, like, I think it was right before she got eliminated, when she was like, this whole situation could have been avoided with a little bit more critical thinking. I was like, bingo. I'm like, absolutely.
so
Like,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, I was just saying, yeah, I'm really bummed for her to have left
Yeah.
already. I thought that she had so much more to offer, and it would have been great to see a little bit more of her.
Yeah. I'm hoping it means she goes on Paradise.
Yeah.
Because that would be pretty great, because that would be technically our first ever plus size person on the show, with a huge
Mhm.
asterisk, of course, in the fact that she is still a straight sized person, but it is the most we've ever gotten in the
Yeah,
history's
absolutely.
long show on air, and it was really like sad to see that. Like she was great, everyone loved her. Everyone,
It's great.
Grant
Oh
loved
yeah.
her. Grant was making out with her last week. Like, what
Hmm.
happened? It's the drama, the whole Rose and like fucking Carolina drama. I was like, I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah, you can really see this episode how the drama really derailed a lot
Hmm.
of the connections.
Yeah.
Like so many ladies didn't have an opportunity to get time with Grant
Hmm.
because of what was going on. And I think like Bailey was another one of them that I was a little bit surprised that she went.
Yeah.
But also I'm not sure if maybe because she was so emotional last episode that kind of shook Grant when he was like maybe she's not ready for something like I don't know. I don't know.
Come on,
But
Grant. Come on. You're about to. All
yeah.
these women are about to get real emotional. And if you saw what was happening in the fucking house last night, you would have known. Okay, so
Mm,
yes, I will say Zoe is. I'm very intrigued by her. I like her play style because of how chaotic it is. Um,
chaos.
it's so good because like her crying because she just like didn't like the date essentially, and her like being like, but it just made me feel so like out of my comfort zone, and I don't really know what's wrong with it. And she's like,
She
also she was like just sitting there the whole time just very like and they're like, we loved today, today was so much fun. She's like, I hated it, it was like so cunty, but like I loved it.
She is hilarious.
Mhm.
I can't figure out what her angle is here because she's just full of contradictions. So I'm like, are you just trying to be a chaos agent?
And I think so.
Because you're like literally you come out swinging, talking about I'm not here to make friends. If you know, it is what it is. You gotta get time with Grant when you can.
Shot my
You know,
shot.
basically saying I don't care about my relationships with women in this house. I'm here for Grant. Screw all y'all.
Hmm.
And then the next episode, all of a sudden, they're not girls. They're not being nice to me. They're not. And it's like, girl, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't come in and basically smack all these girls in the face and be like, I don't give a fuck about you. And then all of a sudden think that they're going to be nice to you. And it's funny because they they said that they tried. They're like, we try to include her and she wants to be excluded. So what are you doing?
Literally, I love that. Like they were like crying and freaking out, and then like she's just
Poor
in the kitchen, just
Alex.
like eating, like just like did not care at all. It was so iconic, and I do think she's doing it like on purpose to mess with them,
Oh yeah.
because it
She's
took
a master manipulator.
one small thing to just throw all of the girls into a tizzy, and that Serafina is now saying her dress is too short and all these things. And I
Uh,
feel like Serafina wouldn't have
that was very
necessarily done
cunty.
that if she hadn't been like thrown off of her axis. Like that initial cry that I think just like disarmed people in a way, because or not disarmed it, like
Yes.
confused people. They were just like, wait, why are you crying? They're like, nothing happened today. And then so it just puts you in your head, and then they start acting weird, and then of course they're gonna start talking about you, and then now Zoe has a valid reason to be upset
Hmm.
and to go to Grant and perfectly be like, I'm being ostracized in the house. And now he's mad at the women. It was like beautifully done. If your
Genius.
goal is to ruin everyone else's like time to get
Genius.
better, it's yeah,
Mhm.
mm,
I'm pretty she's gonna make it far.
yeah,
Like she's gonna at least make it to Final Four, I think. He's clearly very into her.
yeah.
And the way that she is like manipulating this whole situation, she knows exactly what she's doing. She
I'm
knows what she's doing.
so good for it.
So it's gonna
I
make
know.
for good TV to me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I think without her, it's kind of like, what's the drama really in the house?
Yeah,
Besides whatever is happening with Carolina.
right.
But
And that's why I liked this drama because it was like different for me. I felt like it wasn't like the standard drama. It's standard maybe
mm,
on the surface, but it's like not to me. I'm like, oh, she's playing
yeah.
chess, and now I'm very intrigued and I want to see what's happening.
Hmm.
So for that
Yeah.
reason, I'm like, this is why this season is really good for me. And then this drama with Carolina and
Rose.
Rose
Hmm.
was also intriguing because I was flabbergasted. I was like, did Grant say that? Why would he say that? And then also,
Hmm.
why did Rose tell her? And then I'm having debates in my house because I'm like, well, I can kind of see if like they're having a conversation Carolina is saying I'm feeling really like I'm not connecting with Grant, that Rose might be thinking that she was actually doing a kindness of like, you should know that he's like doesn't really have a connection with you, but not out of like malice. But then I'm like,
That's the
maybe she
vibe I was getting.
fully lied and was doing it in malice. And then the Grant part of it was crazy. Oh my god, what are your thoughts?
I don't think it was out of malice, just seeing how the conversation went with Rose and Grant when he
Mhm.
confronted her about it. Well, first, did you see a few people put up the clip of the
Mhm.
last week's episode from the part of the conversation that Rose was referencing? I think it's a very clear miscommunication.
Yeah.
Did Grant specifically say that? No, but I can understand how she misinterpreted it that
Yeah.
way. So I think it was kind of unfair of Grant to make her feel like
Yeah.
like she did some like she basically made up something when it was like, dude, you said like it wasn't completely out of the realm of possibility, but he was so sure. He was like, I would never say that.
Yeah.
Basically, he was basically calling her a liar. Um, and I do think she handled it in a very mature way.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I was like, I don't think it was very malicious of her. I think she was truly like confiding in like her and Carolina were confiding in each other, and she was kind of like, I feel like we've gotten close.
Yeah.
I really want to share this with you based off the conversation I had with Grant. Like, am I losing my mind? Whatever. And that's kind of how that happened. But she owned up to it. She was like, "Oh, I truly thought that's what you said. Clearly, I heard you wrong, and I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't. I clearly I messed up." So she took accountability in a way that I think I've never seen someone on the show do
Mhm.
before.
No, so true. And it was like painful to watch. I
It
hated
was.
her like being like you yeah, I feel like I could see her like losing
She felt
her
horrible.
yeah, like she was like, "Oh shit." Like but like I'm also like, "Girl, I feel like you need to be pretty certain about that before you say it." Like if you weren't like
Yeah.
super 100% on it, but cuz like you watch the clip and you're like, "I wouldn't have taken that from that." I mean, I don't know. I obviously I wasn't there. And also somebody did point out like there you don't technically see his face when he says the last part of the clip, like, and I was thinking of
Ah.
you. So like there could have been a Frankenbite where or maybe they took out, maybe Grant even did. You know, like or he maybe even implied a little bit more like, yeah, when I was on the stage dancing with other women, I was thinking of you, like and they took out that part and just spliced it just so that it's it's so
I
vague.
mean,
You
he
know.
would be an idiot to say that though.
No, I
Like it
know.
would be
God.
he would be dumb to say that. I mean, I could also like by him saying what because I think his words were when we were or when there was oh God,
Yeah, it was
something
like
dancing on the stage.
mhm.
He it was like
There was the
when
dancing
you
and
all
everything on stage. So like
And
the
I was
inclusion
thinking
of
about
everything
you.
means like the date as a whole. And I think
Yeah.
giving Grant the benefit of the doubt, he might have actually been meaning like when he was dancing on the stage, because he did a little song and dance himself, and so like he
Ah,
could have been
yeah.
like referring to like when I was up there being being myself, I thought of you, but it's
Or
like
the group dance.
yeah,
He could have
group,
easily, I think if he was trying to be really clear, he could have been like,
yeah,
"Oh, during the group performance, I
yeah,
couldn't keep my eyes off you, or I couldn't stop
yes,
thinking about
yeah,
you,"
which
right?
is just
That
so
would have
nice.
been very romantic
Yeah,
and very
yeah,
and very clear.
yeah,
But I will admit I can see how she misinterpreted it based
yeah.
on how he said it for sure.
No, that's
For
true.
sure. But
Oh my
I will
God.
say I just don't like that a lot of people are so quick to turn on Grant,
Yeah.
because I've seen a lot of people online like, you are a gaslighter, like you definitely said that. And I'm like, there's nuance to this. Like, yeah, I was like, if you're going to be technical, he actually didn't say it,
Yeah, he didn't.
but you can see why it could be misinterpreted that way. So I think it was just a classic miscommunication situation, and it was really no one's fault,
Yeah.
really.
And I guess kind of in the end, I'm still like, she shouldn't have said it to Carlina.
Yeah.
like
She
I see a
shouldn't have.
reality where
Yeah.
she does, and I see a reality where she thinks it's the right thing to do. But I'm also like, I'm a little bit more likely to think she maybe thought that's what he said. That's whatever, but that she did do it to kind of fuck with,
Absolutely.
Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
And that's whatever. I'm not trying to, no one should send her hate. Please, for the love of God. Why do people send death threats to any of these people? I'm going to lose my mind. Anyway, but yeah, it's like
That's also a
whatever.
classic, like that's a classic bachelor conflict, right? Or
Yeah,
bachelorette conflict.
yeah,
Where, or I feel like this happens more on Bachelor than Bachelorette, where
yeah.
some women share too much about their relationship with the
Exactly.
lead,
Exactly.
and it makes the other women feel insecure and
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable in their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But every time that happens, it's normally women who don't have as strong of a connection. Like I can't remember what season it was, but there was a season where someone was really getting in the head of like,
Yeah.
I think someone who ended up being either F1 or F2. And
Yeah.
it was like, you are talking all this shit about your connection with the lead when in reality, they're actually more into somebody else.
Oh yeah, I think it was the Clayton season, maybe, but
Yeah.
or but yeah, there was like a blonde who was very secure in her connection, and it was like couldn't be
And
further
telling
from the
all the
truth.
business, like
Yeah,
all the details of
yeah,
their
like
dates and their
kisses and
one.
all the things, and
Yeah, it's
it's
like,
like,
why?
come on,
Some things could be private. Like, what are you
yeah,
doing?
yeah, zip it. In the words of Kathy,
Ah!
when Teresa wouldn't shut up about her connection with Gary.
Well, Teresa is the rare example where she actually ended up winning, but I
Yeah.
mean, look where that relationship ended up. So,
Mhm. Oh my God, I saw another comparison last night when Grant was talking to Bailey.
mhm.
Yeah, Bailey. Yeah, because she won the money challenge, and then she was like, so when they were like, oh, how much money should Grant spend on an engagement ring? She's like, 3 months of his salary and 1 year of my salary, and it was like bragging about how much money she makes, and then she would brag a little bit more about how much money she made with him, and I was like, oh, he's gonna pick her because it was very Gary when he found out that Teresa had money.
Not him being a gold digger.
He was, in the end, he was.
Uh,
Anyway, good times. So yeah, it's an interesting drama, but I again was sad because I had never seen something quite like this, and where I didn't know what was happening, and I couldn't quite suss out the truth,
yeah, it was
and like the
interesting.
audacity that the lead could very well have said that, because like it's really not outside of the possibility. A lot of these men are dumb as
Mhm.
hell, and like I'm sorry, if Clayton had been doing it, I would have been like, yeah, I bet he fucking did say that. Like, I'm sorry. I have too much fun. Yeah. I'd also say maybe even Zach. Zach would have done it. I don't know. Like, but I'm talking to a
Mm,
defender of the Zach Nation.
I
So,
mean, it's funny. When I was watching the episode, one note that I made is I was like, Grant is so he's inserting himself in the women's drama a little too early for my taste.
mm,
And it made me think about Zach, because what I really liked about Zach's season is that he was very no nonsense about the drama. Like he was just like, I don't want no drama. Like seriously, he shut that shit down.
sure.
And I really appreciated that. And I feel like Grant, instead of giving the women an opportunity to kind of figure it out on their own, he's already stirring the pot. And it's like, dude, you need to like sometimes you need to be like, hey, I don't want to hear about what's going on in the house. Let's just talk about our
That's
relationship.
actually so true. No, it's true. There is those the leads will do that, and I always respect that too. It's like, no, no, I don't need to know. And last night, probably in the funniest moment for me, I like was cry laughing when he was talking to Carolina, and he was like, "Well, then who said that?"
He
She's
started
like,
naming names.
"Yeah." He's like, "Will you tell me if I guess?" She's like, I guess." He's like, "Bailey." She's like, "No." Latia? No. Dina? I,
Dina.
I've never seen that. I don't know who Dina is. I don't think she's on the show, mind you. Um, who? Uh, and then it was just so funny. And
It became a witch hunt.
then I was like, but I like was like, is Grant literally gonna sit here and name all 10 women? Like, what
It's
is
crazy.
happening? Because like, I'm like, that's not
But the
how a
best part
guessing game works. That's not when you go, if I guess the name correctly, will you tell? You don't get to then name 10 women.
what was funny too is like right after that when she just was like, I feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make this a thing. You can see his ITM. He goes, all right, so these women were on the date, and she said it's not Dina, Latia, her, or
Bailey,
who's the other person? Bailey.
Bailey, yeah.
So that only leaves Rose.
And he's just like, "Ugh, I'm gonna go get you." Hey, Rose. It
I'm
was
gonna
so
go get
funny.
her.
It was,
Oh gosh.
and he was so proud of himself. I'm like, bro,
He's
I
like, I
guess
figured
she
it
was
out.
the only last woman was doing it. Oh my God, so funny. But I
That
also
was
like,
funny.
okay, but at first, before you started guessing the rest, I was like, when he just said Bailey, and we knew it was Rose, I was like, wait, was he saying that to every woman? Like, I did have that moment of like, oh my God, is Grant like, is he a player? Like, oh shit, we're about to enter into like the most chaotic moment ever. Like, what if he's like literally telling all the women, like, when I was up
Imagine.
there dancing, I was
Same
thinking
thing.
of you. Oh no, I was like, no, 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 I can't do this. And then luckily it was more
Imagine
just like
that.
he was just narrowing down the women were.
Narrow it down.
And
Oh
I'll
my
say this,
gosh.
that gives Grant more benefit of the doubt though, because he
Mhm.
didn't know who it was because he didn't say it.
You didn't say it. Yep.
So I'm like,
That's true.
frankly, case closed. Grant and I figured
Hmm.
it out. Okay, we're both very smart individuals, and the A cab, just hire him and I. We're good. We will figure out all of the
You guys
crimes.
will get down to it. Well, there was another mystery that had to be solved this episode that people had to figure out after the fact, which is what the fuck happened to Beverly?
And who's Beverly? When I finally saw her face, I was like, oh yeah, she's gorgeous. I've probably talked about her on the bio episode. Never heard that name in
Hmm.
my life though. I was like, is that somebody on the Golden Bachelor? Like, what's going on, Beverly? Okay, anyway, sorry, but she is gorgeous, and she was sick. And what happened? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know if you found. Okay, so she did an interview with Bachelor Happy Hour. Come to find out, she had really bad stomach pains
Mm,
and she had to go to the hospital. It ended up being her appendix. She had to have emergency, whatever, appendectomy,
Epidectomy,
whatever
yeah.
the, yeah, whatever it is to get your appendix removed. She had to get emergency surgery.
Oh my,
That's why she had to leave so abruptly.
oh my God.
That poor girl. But then
No.
someone was like, oh, yeah, so that's why you need to listen to your gut because your gut was telling you that you shouldn't be there.
So really, yeah, like this connection is not gonna work. You know what? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
your body is
Your
telling
gut
you.
was screaming at you, not Grant, not Grant.
Yeah, it's kind of like when that woman had mass like crazy constipation on the last season of BIP we had. She had to have like
Oh my
a
God.
birth of her poop or something.
What is
Um
it? Is it an enema? Is that what that is?
yeah, they
No
were
way.
doing everything, and it's like I that's actually so astute. It's like, girl, your gut was telling you gotta go. BIP is not for
Gotta go.
you. You gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so
That's
funny.
crazy.
Yeah.
Poor Beverly. I felt so bad. But also I was kind of, I mean, I couldn't figure out why they didn't close the loop on that. I don't know if it was just a
Yeah.
HIPAA thing or but couldn't they just specifically just say like she got really sick and she had to go? Like it was just I
Well,
don't yeah, I
yeah,
feel
they
like they just
said they're
didn't
like that she got sick and she will no longer be coming back to the house. And I was like, what does that mean? And then I, of
yeah.
course, thought of Zach in the COVID season, and I had a good
Ah,
chuckle
yeah.
to myself, like, oh, remember when that happened? So then I was like, okay, did she get COVID? Like, are we about to enter into another like test all the
There was
women?
like a roast ceremony over Zoom, right?
Yes. The women didn't know where to go. They were like, do I walk up to the screen? Like, I don't really
That
know.
was hilarious.
The best. 10 minutes of television there ever has been. I'm sorry. It was
Those COVID
fascinating.
seasons are like a fever dream,
Remember,
truly.
remember when we went on a fucking cruise ship with Gabby and
Yeah.
Rachel and those shitheads? What was
Yeah.
that? And then like
Oh my
Quinta or La
God.
Quinta, and then like fucking Nemacolin. I
Oh
just
my God. Tasha season where like they went New York was a cardboard cutout of a taxi cab.
oh
Yeah,
God.
those COVID seasons. Whoa.
Biden's America, I swear. Mm,
Mm, mm, mm,
mm,
mm.
mm, mm.
But yeah, so we figured out the mystery of
Okay,
Beverly.
that's good to know.
Um,
I send her love, and I hope she's okay. That's rough. That's rough.
mhm.
Hopefully, she didn't quit her job before she came on the
Oh
show.
my gosh, I hope not.
Oh my God.
So, but I thought I did think it was interesting that Grant picked three other women to be the like it's just something that we just never seen before, right?
Mhm.
It's like what happens when a one-on-one can't happen? What do you do? And he picked three ladies to go on the date part, and I thought that was interesting. And I think
Yeah.
it was telling that those three might be around for a little bit.
Do you find it interesting that he just didn't pick another woman to be a solo date? Like was there
Yeah,
no one else
I'm
there? He really because in the end it was Latia who had like the
yeah.
additional one-on-one time. He could have just picked her and said, "Hey, I want this one-on-one with you."
I don't know. It's a really good point. I don't know if that was just more of a production
Yeah,
choice.
probably.
There was a reason behind doing the three instead of the one,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, it was interesting. I will say it's funny when you were like, who's Dina even?
yeah.
I have felt the same way. I was like, who is this woman? But then when she had her date and we started to see her interact with Grant, I was like, oh, she might be one of the most mature women here.
Oh, I love.
Like she was like she's very career driven. She's like a lawyer at a big firm in Chicago. And the maturity just radiates off of her. Like she seems so self-assured and like very much like she knows who she is. Like she even talked like when Grant was like, "Oh, well, how's the process go? Like how are you feeling throughout this process?" She's like, It's not bad. Like it's not that difficult for me because I feel very comfortable with who I am as a person." So that was really a breath of fresh air to see, considering how all the other women have been
Yeah.
reacting to the situation lately. So, she gave me the vibes of like if he was actually taking this seriously and wanted to seriously, you know, get in a relationship with someone that could
Yeah.
lead to marriage,
Yeah.
she seems like someone that you would want to pick for that.
No, that's so true. And I just looked her picture up. She's the knockoff Rachel Recchia, and that's what I've been
I
calling her.
real she does look like Rachel.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's
like
it's
yeah,
the hair
it's
too. I think the
the
shape,
face and
the
the
color
hair.
of her hair is exactly the kind of hair
Yeah,
Rachel either has right now or had at one point.
yeah, yeah. It's giving Rachel Recchia, so that's why I was like, oh, her name is not Dina. I don't. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, you're so right. And like, yeah, but yeah, he's gravitating towards Juliana, the one known MAGA we know of, and who just is I don't trust
Wait,
her.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That was confirmed?
she had like a post I think, and then she deleted it, and then she was following like Trump and Candace Owens. Um,
Yikes.
yeah, I mean, so like nothing supposedly egregious yet. I mean, I'll wait any day of a blackface photo, but because you
You know what that means, right? He's gonna pick her. He's gonna pick her.
no, I can't do
Look at our track record. Our black bachelors love a MAGA girl. They love a conservative girly. He's gonna pick her.
I know, and it's like he was like, "Oh, I'm really feeling it." Like he seems to really like her. I'm like,
Oh, he's
dude,
super into her.
Jesus
He's
Christ, I
obsessed with her.
can't.
He's gonna pick her.
And she's causing drama in the house. She's mad at Zoe, where Zoe's just killing it. Anyway,
I mean, if I was in that house, I'd be beefing with Zoe too, to be honest.
I mean, true, but
Uh, but it looks like in next episode she has issues with Carolina too. So
yeah, no, she's like but she's gonna go far then. And if he doesn't pick her, yeah, she's going far. Oh boy, oh, I hate that.
yeah, once you told me that, I was like, oh no, he's picking her.
Can't do
You heard it here first.
I can't do it again.
Mhm.
Somebody get Emmanuel Acho on the line. Just make sure his books are cleared.
Where is the what is
Dr.
it? What is the
Banks.
person that they had hired?
Yeah, Dr.
Doctor.
Banks. Dr. Banks.
Yeah,
make sure
bring Dr.
she's
Banks back.
make sure
Bring Dr.
she's
Banks back.
has a clear schedule too. Oh
Oh my
God.
God. Yeah, I also wonder, so Bachelorette is not going to be premiering. I
Yeah,
don't know
let's
if they're
talk
saying
about
not
it.
at all.
Yeah.
Is it not at all this year or
They're
just
skipping this year, and I just saw before we clocked on to do this that they are supposedly giving into those fucking Mormon sluts. The Mormon housewives, and or not the housewives, the lesser, the knockoff
oh,
Mormon housewives.
they need to put Latia on that show.
I mean, slay. And so, and yeah, so they supposedly it's just getting this time slot, and it's being speculated that and this is coming from actual Rachel Recchia and Ashley I that supposedly did that episode with Ben Higgins, that podcast, that they had already picked the lead even, and then they dropped it, and I don't know how that could be true, but it just seems a
Because one thing,
little sus.
because one thing I saw was that they definitely said it wasn't gonna premiere if it were to happen
Yeah.
in the spring like it usually does before
Mm.
BIP. And but some people were hopeful that maybe it could come on in the fall
True.
after BIP. But I'm like, well, when is Golden Bachelor happening? Because they are casting for that.
Right.
So I don't know if maybe they're trying to see how BIP goes and see if a woman pops off of that. But they might just skip it all together.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I
which
would
makes me, I
be.
was like, were Grant's girls that bad that they didn't
No.
want anybody to be the Bachelorette?
Right. Somebody was like, "Oh, maybe Alana Meyer or Mayer, Alana, whatever.
Nah,
her
no.
schedule was more open in the fall."
I mean, I would love to see her as the Bachelorette, absolutely, but let's be honest, this show is beneath her.
And it is. Yeah. No, I'm
She's
actually pretty.
amazing.
I'm a little scared by it all. I think for it's like I waver sometimes about how I think we should actually skip a Bachelor season because we have plenty of women to choose from over the years that deserve a chance, and or even redos, right? Like let's get Michelle back
Yeah,
on this show. I don't give a shit. Like let's go. And well, now she's engaged. Sorry, she is so.
she's engaged to a hottie.
Yeah, I've yeah, exactly. So, but like, there's plenty of women to choose from, and we it's fine. We can skip a Bachelor season. I like the Bachelor seasons because I like the women, right? So like I am invested in
Yeah.
Bachelor seasons because I like the women drama, and I like Bachelorette seasons because I usually love the lead and I'm like here for that story. And they usually pick a better man, not always. And but then so I'm just like, oh, why are you taking that away from me? Take Bip again, but they took Bip last year, so away. So like I understand giving Bip its time to come back and to shine, which I heard from um Ash Talks Tea that they have a new like producer on that, and so it's
Yep,
going to
I
probably
read
be
that.
changing. So I think that yeah, so it's yeah, I don't know. I'm just like there's too much show now because I'm still campaigning for a queer season, which I actually have it on decent authority sooner than
Mhm.
later. And I'm like, when are you
Ooh,
gonna put that show in? And so I was
yeah.
Delulu for a minute, thinking that was what was gonna take that spot, and they were gonna surprise launch it. But now I'm hearing that's gonna go to the Mormon ladies, and it's like, come
Mm,
on. But you know what? I'll say what if it means I have a summer off until BIP comes in like August
that'd
ish.
be nice.
I'm okay with it for me personally, but it's just interesting. I don't really know what it means.
Unless
Also, there's
they
like the thing about how like maybe they can't find any good men anymore, and frankly,
I mean, so one thing I wonder if they push up BIP and have it actually air during the summer
hmm
if you don't have to worry about Bachelorette anymore.
hmm
That might be a good idea. But what I will say, so I can see why going in the past to find a woman can be a little difficult because I feel like a lot of the women from this show are serious about
yeah,
finding relationships, and a lot of the ones are in relationships now,
so true.
or either they've gotten married or they're in serious relationships.
hmm
And then the ones who aren't have been so scorned or like so damaged by the show that they
True.
they would be idiots to come back. Like Rachel Recchia, Bachelorette again. Why would she want to subject herself to all that pain and torment? Like, why? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so
And
true.
I feel like there's a lot more men who are still single even though a lot of the ones that we were clamoring for have recently gotten into relationships, like, you know, Mike Johnson's been in a serious relationship, Rodney is
Rodney, yeah,
engaged, like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, I guess if they wanted to do Greg or Andrew or Justin, who I wouldn't want that at all. Please don't. I would have to
Epiphany,
skip.
why did you even?
I know. Why did I put that out
I
there?
just about
Why would
threw
I
up
put
in
that
my
out there?
mouth. I couldn't.
You don't want a Jason Tartik Bachelor season? You don't
Daddy
want that?
Michael breaks up with his woman that he was emotionally cheating on Danielle with, and
Oh
then
God.
makes him the bachelor.
Oh God.
I will say, to back to our Kendrick moment, he was the surprise ally of the week. He did an Instagram story. I didn't record it because I just was like, I'm not giving this man any screen time because I fucking hate him.
Did he
Um,
say he liked it?
he said he liked it and he thought it was really brave, and but it actually didn't sound condescending like that saying brave is, but he just is like, Kendrick did not dilute his art
Hmm.
for other people. He did what he wanted to do. He had a story to tell. And then he was like, and I think people are not understanding that, and that he represents a part of our community, our country, that it never gets, or that doesn't get as much like representation or whatever. He actually said
Wow.
it in a pretty good way, but it was also a good handful of hours into all of the other drama. I was like, homeboy watched a couple TikToks.
He knows what he's doing. He knows what
And
he's
then
doing.
he came on there and said, "I'm gonna go ahead and be the one white man who,"
Uh-huh.
and he was
Hey,
like,
a
"I feel
broken
like
clock
this
is
is the thing I want my son to learn about." And I was just like, God damn it, Michael.
A broken clock is right twice a day. So hey, but you know what? Caitlin Bristow was doing a similar thing too. Like I feel like she saw all the backlash, and
Yeah.
it's also, I mean, she's gonna take any opportunity to make Jason look bad. So she was like, oh, you know what? Let me get on my high horse and talk about how you need to educate yourself. So I think she posted either a story or some kind of video. She was like, I didn't understand it at first, but you know what I did? My research. I did. I looked it up and I figured out exactly what he was trying to say. And now that I know the meaning of it, I think it was fantastic. Like, I was like, you're so full of shit.
Yeah, she was one tweet away from being, I don't get this
Yeah.
performance. Like, she was one drunk wine glass away from being like, where's performance? Oh my God. She's
Oh,
like,
wow.
I stand with my fellow Canadian Drake. And I think it was inappropriate to call him a pedophile on national television.
Oh my gosh. Imagine that. Imagine that. But I really think skipping Bachelorette just has so many repercussions because then it's kind of like, well, then how do you pick your Bachelor? So I think they're going to be focusing a lot like this
Paradise.
season of BIP will be interesting
Hmm.
because we skipped a year. We've got a lot of different casts to pull from,
Yeah.
and we're going to see who's really going to be the star of it. I think BIP is going to be a big indicator of our next Bachelor or
Yeah.
Bachelorette, depending on what ends up coming first. So all I know is Devin better not set foot on that fucking sand. Hell nah. Hell nah.
Ugh, my worst nightmare.
That is one villain that does not deserve any kind of redemption. Fuck him.
Hmm. No, I really hope they like learned in one regard, like one thing from that season that you take
Yeah.
away is that that was not okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He should be blacklisted from the franchise.
So true. Oh my God. No, you bring up a good point, but yeah, I think that's maybe exactly what they are banking on, and I don't think it's not a bad idea. I think we will. I when they pull from BIP, it's not. I mean, it's only been Clayton and Nick, but
Well, no, Clayton was, oh, Colton. Colton
sorry.
and Nick.
Oh my God, I can't believe.
Colton.
2 years later, I'm still doing it.
I mean, they could be twins, so I get it.
No, I know. It's just
I get it.
we used to call
They're
him
very
Straight
similar.
Colton, and then Colton and Straight Clayton. That was what we would call him on the podcast. Oh my God, I cannot
I
tell you
think
how
what I
often that
would,
happens.
yeah. I mean, it's very easy. I can see that. What I would like to see is an older Bachelorette redo. I
Yeah.
feel like Claire didn't give us the full season that we deserved or wanted. So I would love to see someone in their mid to late 30s,
Yeah.
maybe even early 40s do this. Um, But even like if you're doing mid to late 30s, like even like Danielle might be someone
That
interesting
would be
if she were to
iconic.
ever, that would be interesting, right?
Dude, I kind of think she'd be down too, because she like gets it
Yeah.
just enough to like I think she would protect her heart, and not get like swayed by the
She could be interesting.
production, but she would like give us a good season. And if anyone's listening, officially I am Claire's age, so if, which I had that horrible decision this year. I was like, oh wow, I'm the same age Claire was when she was a bachelorette.
Holy
Okay,
shit.
that's great.
Wait, how old was Claire when she was Bachelorette?
39.
39, right before 40.
Uh-huh. It's good. But I did
Wow.
already find love yet so far, so uh, you know, not not happening for me
I mean,
now.
you wouldn't be the first person to get on this show with a partner at home, so.
Oh, about that. Let me go hide all those photos of us.
Like,
Call
wait for me,
me.
babe.
Call
Just
me ABC.
wait for me.
No, they would. Oh my God. We were talking about it last night. I was like, I would go on the show in a heartbeat if they would take the fat dyke that I am. I put a wig on and pretend to be a pageant girly. And then at the very end of the
Love
season, I
it.
rip off my wig and they're like, she was a dyke the
Oh,
whole time. That's how you blow
I
that shit
love
up.
it.
That's how you
I
blow
love
that
it.
shit up.
I love it. I think that's exactly what the franchise needs.
Yeah, exactly. A secret dyke.
Mhm.
Oh, I love it. I love you so much. I always love when we podcast. I feel like it's the funniest episode I've ever done. Oh, you're the best. Thank you for being on.
Oh, thank you for having me. I always love coming on and talking to you about this crazy show that we are still watching
Despite.
begrudgingly, but
Yeah.
I, anytime you need me, I'll come a call in.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. Make sure you're following Epiphany online. Do you want to drop the handle? I'll tag it, of course. Everyone can go make sure you're
Oh yeah.
following and seeing all your cute stories from New York City.
Yes. Yeah. I'm Epiphany, Epiphany, XIANN. That's my Instagram and my Twitter. I will never call it X. So if you
And you heard
if you
it.
want to follow me on either of those, please feel free. Um, so yeah. Thanks for having me,
Of
Jenna.
course. We'll have a great trip next week, and I can't wait that we could share some good Cowboy Carter memories together over the
Gonna
internet.
be a yeehaw summer.
Oh, let's go. Look at that horse. Okay.
Look at that horse.
Thank you all so much for listening to Date Card Pod. Make sure you are rating and reviewing and sending it to your friends. If you have a friend who's watching The Bachelor against everyone's better judgment, make sure they're listening to Date Card Pod because I feel like we're bringing very unique and good perspectives about this show. So please, please, and check us out on YouTube. And until then, make sure you save all your grant bucks because the price of these eggs are not going down. Okay, bye.